A skinny 10-year-old boy was struggling under the weight of a heavy bag of oranges, trying to sell them in a pair of worn-out shoes under Atlanta's scorching sun, just to earn money for his mother's medicine, when suddenly, a wealthy billionaire bought the entire bag and invited him inside. As the boy stepped in, still bewildered, a photograph on the shelf caught his eye, and then he froze on the spot the moment he realized who the person in that picture was. Before we dive deeper into this story, tell me where you're listening from. And make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow I have a surprise waiting for you. The asphalt shimmered under the Atlanta sun like a mirage. Jamal Carter squinted against the glare, his thin shoulders already aching from the weight of the canvas bag. Inside, 20 oranges rolled and bumped with each step. His shirt stuck to his back, dark with sweat. 10 years old, too young to be doing this. But what choice did he have? He stopped in front of another mansion, one of dozens lining the pristine streets of Buckhead. Perfectly trimmed hedges, a 3-car garage, sprinklers tossing arcs of water across a lawn so green it looked fake. Jamal wiped his forehead with the back of his hand and walked up the driveway. His knock was quiet, hesitant. He counted to 10 in his head like Mama taught him. Give them time to answer. Don't be pushy. The door opened. A white woman in yoga clothes looked down at him, her face already forming that expression, the one he'd learned to recognize, suspicion mixed with annoyance. "Ma'am, I'm selling oranges to help my mama buy medicine. Just $5 for—" "Not interested." The door shut before he finished. Jamal stood there for a moment, staring at the wreath hanging on the closed door. He adjusted the bag on his shoulder and moved on. House after house, door after door. Some people didn't even answer. Others barely let him speak. One man waved him off without looking up from his phone. Another woman called through the intercom, "We don't want any." By noon, the sun was brutal. Jamal's throat felt like sandpaper. He'd brought a water bottle from home, refilled from the tap 3 times already this week, but he only allowed himself small sips. Had to make it last. He sat on the curb near a bus stop, the bag between his knees. His sneakers had holes in both toes. Mama said she'd fix them with duct tape when she felt better. That was 2 weeks ago. She hadn't gotten better yet. "Hey, look at this kid." Jamal's head snapped up. 3 boys around his age, maybe a bit older, were riding bikes down the sidewalk. Their clothes were bright and new. Their bikes gleamed. They circled him like sharks. "What's in the bag, dude?" The tallest one grinned. "You homeless or something?" "I'm selling oranges," Jamal said, quietly looking down. "Oranges?" The boy laughed. "Why don't you just go to a food bank? My mom says that's what poor people do." The others snickered. One pointed at Jamal's shoes. "Dude, I can see your toes." Heat crawled up Jamal's neck, not from the sun, from shame. But he heard his mama's voice in his head, clear as day. "We're poor in money, baby, not in character. Hold your head up." So he did. He looked the tall boy in the eye. "My oranges are good, fresh. You want one?" The boy's smile faltered for a second, then he shook his head. "Nah, man. Come on, guys." They rode off, still laughing. Jamal watched them disappear around the corner. His hands were shaking. He hated that. Hated feeling small. Hated that he couldn't even be angry without feeling guilty about it. He stood up, hoisted the bag higher on his shoulder, and kept walking. The houses got bigger the farther he went. More gates, more cameras, more distance between him and the people inside. Then he saw it. At the end of the street, behind iron gates that looked like they belonged to a castle, stood the biggest house Jamal had ever seen. 3 stories, columns in front, a fountain in the circular driveway. He stopped walking. His legs felt heavy. This was stupid. Rich people in houses like that didn't buy oranges from kids like him. But the bag was still full. And Mama needed medicine. The prescription slip was folded in his pocket next to the $11 he'd made so far today. Not nearly enough. Jamal walked up to the gate. There was a call box with a button and a speaker. His finger hovered over it. "Don't go into strangers' houses, Mama always said. You hear me, baby? I don't care how nice they seem." He wasn't going inside, just asking through the speaker. That was safe, right? He pressed the button. Static crackled. Then a man's voice, flat and tired. "Yes." Jamal's throat went dry. Hi, sir. My name's Jamal Carter. I'm selling oranges to help buy medicine for my mama. She's real sick. They're $5 a bag, or I can sell you just a few if—" The speaker went silent. Not even static anymore. Just dead air. Jamal waited. 10 seconds. 20. His heart sank. Another rejection. He turned away, blinking hard. His eyes were burning, but he refused to cry. Not here. Not where anyone could see. Then he heard it. A mechanical hum. The gate was opening. Jamal spun around, his breath catching in his throat. Through the widening gap, he saw a man walking toward him. Tall, white, wearing an expensive-looking shirt and dark slacks. His hair was neat, his face unreadable. Nathan Cole. Jamal didn't know the name yet, but he would never forget it. Nathan's shoes clicked against the driveway. Expensive leather polished to a shine. Jamal noticed everything about him, the watch on his wrist, the sharp line of his jaw, the way he moved like someone who'd never had to worry about anything. Jamal's instinct was to step back, run even, but he held his ground. Mama raised him to be polite, respectful, even when he was scared. "You said your name is Jamal." Nathan's voice was quieter now, less tired, almost careful. "Yes, sir." Jamal lifted the bag slightly. "I got fresh oranges, real good ones. My neighbor grows them in her backyard, and—" "How old are you?" The question caught him off guard. 10, sir." Nathan's eyes moved over him slowly, too slowly. Jamal felt like he was being studied, the way teachers looked at him when they thought he wasn't paying attention in class. "Where do you live?" Nathan asked. "Not far. Just a few blocks that way." Jamal gestured vaguely. It was technically true. If you didn't count the 1.5 miles he'd walked to get here. Nathan nodded. His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "You said your mother's sick." "Yes, sir. She's got pneumonia. Real bad. The medicine costs a lot, and we don't got insurance right now, so I'm trying to help." The words tumbled out faster than Jamal intended. He sounded desperate. He hated that. "What's your mother's name?" "Naomi." "Naomi Carter." Nathan went still. Completely, utterly still. It was like someone hit pause on a video. His hand, which had been reaching for his wallet, froze in midair. Jamal frowned. "Sir, you okay?" Nathan blinked. Once, twice. "I'll buy all of them." All of them." Jamal's eyes widened. "That's $100, sir." "I know." Nathan pulled out his wallet and took out 5 crisp 20s. He handed them to Jamal without looking away from his face. "When's the last time you ate?" Jamal's stomach growled so loudly it answered for him. His face burned. I'm fine, sir." "That's not what I asked." "This morning, I had some cereal." A lie. The box had been empty. He'd had a glass of water and told Mama he wasn't hungry. Nathan's jaw tightened. For a long moment, he just stood there, staring at Jamal like he was trying to solve a puzzle. Then he said, "Come inside. I need to get you the money and I'll make you something to eat." Jamal's eyes went wide. "Oh, no, sir. That's okay. You don't gotta. I insist." There was something in Nathan's voice, not anger, not pity either. Something else. Something that made Jamal's chest feel tight. "My mama told me not to go in strangers' houses," Jamal said carefully. "That's good advice." Nathan nodded. "Your mother sounds smart, but I promise I just want to help. You can leave any time you want. The gate stays open." Jamal looked back at the gate. It was still open. He could see the street beyond it. He thought about the prescription slip, the $11 in his pocket, the way Mama coughed so hard last night she couldn't breathe. "Okay," Jamal whispered, "but just for a minute." Nathan didn't smile, but something in his face softened. "Just for a minute." They walked up the driveway together. Jamal had never felt so small. Inside the house was like something from a magazine. High ceilings, marble floors so shiny Jamal could see his reflection. Everything was white or gray or some shade in between. Clean, perfect, cold. "Wait here," Nathan said, pointing to a bench in the entryway. "I'll get the money and put together a sandwich. You like turkey?" "I like anything, sir." Jamal sat down, carefully worried he might leave dirt on the cushion. Nathan disappeared through a doorway. Jamal heard his footsteps echo down a hallway, then fade. The house was silent. Not peaceful silent, empty silent. Jamal looked around. There were paintings on the walls, abstract stuff he didn't understand, a vase with fake flowers, a coat rack with nothing on it. Then his eyes landed on a small table near the stairs. On it sat a single picture frame, silver, gleaming. Jamal stood up slowly. His feet carried him toward it without permission. He picked up the frame, and the world stopped. The woman in the picture was young, mid-20s maybe. She wore a yellow sundress, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her smile was wide and real, the kind of smile that made her whole face light up. She was black, and she looked exactly like his mother. Jamal's hand started shaking. The frame rattled in his grip. He held it closer, his eyes tracing every detail. The curve of her cheekbones, the small mole near her left ear, the gap between her front teeth. It wasn't just similar. It was her. Mama. Younger, healthier, happy. What? The word came out as a whisper. His heart was pounding so hard it hurt. His vision blurred at the edges. Why was his mother's picture in this house? I've got turkey and... Nathan's voice cut off sharply. Jamal turned. Nathan stood frozen in the doorway holding a plate with a sandwich. His face had gone pale. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Nathan's hand started trembling. The plate tilted. He caught it just before the sandwich slid off, setting it on the nearest surface without looking. Why? Jamal's voice cracked. Why do you have a picture of my mama? Nathan's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. This is her. This is my mama. Jamal held up the frame, his hands shaking harder now. Why is she in your house? Nathan took a step forward, then stopped. His hand reached out slightly, as if to steady himself on something that wasn't there. Your mother's name. You said it's Naomi Carter. Yes, and this is her why. What's her full name? Nathan's voice was hoarse. Her maiden name, before Carter. Jamal frowned. Carter's always been her name. She said my daddy's last name doesn't matter, 'cause he's not around. The color drained from Nathan's face completely. He grabbed the edge of the nearby table, his knuckles white. How old are you again? Nathan asked. 10. I'm going to be 11 in March. Jamal's words came faster now, panic rising in his chest. Why are you asking me that? Why do you have my mama's picture? Nathan sank into a chair, actually sank like his legs couldn't hold him anymore. He put his head in his hands, his breathing coming quick and shallow. Sir, Jamal's voice came out small, scared. Are you okay? I looked for her. Nathan's voice was muffled through his hands. God, I looked for her for years. What? What are you talking about? Nathan lifted his head. His eyes were red, wet. How long has it been just you and your mother? Always, Jamal said. It's always been just us. She said my daddy didn't want us, so... No. The word came out sharp. Final. Nathan stood up so fast the chair scraped against the floor. No, that's not what happened. Jamal took a step back, clutching the picture frame to his chest. I don't understand. Nathan stared at him, really stared like he was seeing him for the first time. His eyes moved over Jamal's face, his nose, his chin, his eyes. What's your birthday? Nathan whispered. March 15th. Nathan made a sound, not quite a sob, not quite a gasp. He turned away, his hand covering his mouth. Jamal's heart was racing. Something was happening. Something big. Something that made his stomach twist and his head spin. Please, he said quietly. Please tell me what's going on. Nathan turned back to him. When he spoke, his voice was thick, broken. I need you to take me to your mother, right now. Why? Because. Nathan's breath hitched. Because I think I'm your father. The picture frame slipped from Jamal's hands. It hit the marble floor with a crash. Glass scattered. The photo slid free, landing face up between them. Jamal's mouth moved, but no sound came out. His ears were ringing. The room tilted. Nathan knelt down carefully, picking up the photograph. His hands trembled as he held it. I took this picture, he said softly. 10 years ago. She was 24. I was 28. We were... He stopped, swallowed hard. We were in love. That's not... Jamal shook his head. That's not true. She would have told me. Where do you live? Nathan stood the photo still in his hand. Please, I need to see her. I need to know if... He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Jamal looked at the scattered glass, at the man standing in front of him, at the photo that proved his whole life was a lie. West Side, he whispered, near the old textile plant. Nathan grabbed his keys. Nathan's car smelled like leather and something else, cologne maybe. The seats were soft. The air conditioning worked. Jamal sat rigid in the passenger seat, his hands gripping his knees. They didn't talk. Nathan drove in silence, his jaw tight, his eyes fixed on the road. Every few seconds, his gaze flickered to Jamal, like he was checking to make sure the boy was real. Jamal stared out the window. His neighborhood flew by familiar streets that suddenly felt foreign. Everything looked different from inside this car. His mind was racing, tripping over itself. Questions piled up faster than he could process them. If this man was his father, why didn't Mama ever say? Why did she tell him his dad didn't want them? Why did they live in that tiny apartment when this man had a house like a palace? Turn left here, Jamal said quietly. Nathan turned. His hands were tight on the steering wheel. My mama. Jamal's voice cracked. She never told me about you. I know. She said my dad didn't care about us. Nathan flinched like he'd been hit. I didn't know about you. I swear to God I didn't know. Then why'd you leave her? I didn't. Nathan's voice rose, then dropped again. I didn't leave her. She disappeared. One day she was there, and the next, gone. No note, no call. I searched for months. I hired people to find her. But it's like she vanished. Jamal turned to look at him. Why would she do that? Nathan's jaw worked. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. They pulled up to Jamal's building. It was old. 4 stories of weathered brick and rusted fire escapes. Half the windows had air conditioning units hanging out like broken teeth. The front door didn't lock anymore. Nathan stared at the building. His face went pale again. You live here? Yeah. Jamal's voice was small, defensive. It's not much, but it's ours. Nathan shook his head slowly. If I had known, if I had any idea. He didn't finish. He got out of the car. Jamal led him inside. The hallway smelled like old cooking grease and cigarettes. The stairs creaked under their weight. On the 3rd floor, a kid's bike lay abandoned in the corridor. Jamal stopped in front of apartment 3C. His hands trembled as he pulled out his key. She's going to be real confused, he said quietly. Nathan nodded. He looked like he might throw up. Jamal unlocked the door. The apartment was tiny. One main room that served as living room and kitchen, a short hallway leading to a single bedroom and bathroom. The couch was threadbare. The TV was old, but it was clean. Mama always kept it clean. Jamal, baby, is that you? His mother's voice came from the bedroom, weak, raspy. Yeah, Mama, I'm home. Did you sell any oranges? Yeah, I sold all of them. All of them. Her voice brightened. Oh, baby, that's wonderful. You're such a good boy. Jamal looked at Nathan. The man was standing in the middle of the tiny living room, looking around like he'd stepped onto another planet. His eyes lingered on the medical bills piled on the kitchen counter, the empty prescription bottles lined up by the sink. Mama, Jamal said carefully. Someone came with me. Silence. Then slowly the bedroom door opened. Naomi Carter appeared in the doorway. She wore an old t-shirt and sweatpants. Her hair was wrapped in a scarf. Her face was thin, her skin ashy. Dark circles hung under her eyes. She looked like a shadow of the woman in the photograph. Her eyes landed on Nathan. The glass she was holding slipped from her hand. It hit the floor and shattered. Water spread across the worn linoleum in a slow, creeping puddle. Naomi's hand flew to her mouth. Her whole body started shaking. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Naomi. Nathan's voice broke on her name. You can't be here. She stumbled backward, grabbing the doorframe for support. You can't. How did you? Mama. Jamal moved toward her, but she held up a hand. Stay back, baby. Her eyes never left Nathan. We have to go. We have to leave. Right now. What, Mama? No. Pack a bag, Jamal. Now. Her voice was sharp, panicked. Just your clothes. We're leaving. Why? Jamal's voice rose. What's going on? I'll explain later. Just do what I'm not going anywhere until somebody tells me what's happening. Jamal's shout surprised even himself. Naomi flinched. Nathan took a step forward. Naomi, please, he said quietly. Just talk to me. There's nothing to talk about. Her hands were trembling so badly she had to clasp them together. You need to leave. Right now. I'm not leaving until you tell me why you disappeared. Why you never told me about... Nathan's eyes flickered to Jamal. About him. Naomi's face crumpled. You don't understand. Then help me understand. I can't. Her voice broke. I can't do this. Not now. Not ever. You have to go. She moved toward the door, her hand reaching for the knob. But before she could touch it, Nathan stepped in front of her, blocking her path. Please, he whispered. Please just tell me why. Naomi looked up at him. Tears were streaming down her face. Because your mother gave me no choice. Nathan went still. What? Your mother? Naomi's voice was hollow. Evelyn. She found me. After you proposed. After I found out I was pregnant. She found me and she told me if I didn't disappear, she'd destroy me. She'd have me arrested, falsely accused of theft. She said she had lawyers' connections. She said she'd make sure I went to prison and lost my baby. So I ran. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And I never looked back. The room went silent. Nathan's face drained of all color. His mouth opened and closed, no sound coming out. Jamal stood frozen, his eyes moving between them. I don't understand. Naomi turned to him, her face wet with tears. Baby, I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I should have. Told me what? Jamal's voice shook. That he couldn't finish the sentence. Naomi nodded, her hand covering her mouth. Nathan is your father. The words hung in the air like smoke. Jamal's legs gave out. He sat down hard on the couch, his vision swimming. Nathan made a sound, a broken, desperate sound. He dropped to his knees in front of Naomi, his hands reaching for hers. I didn't know, he choked out. I swear to God, I didn't know. I would never. I looked for you. For years. If I had known you were pregnant, if I had known about him, I know. Naomi's voice was barely audible. I know you would have come. That's why she made sure you couldn't find me. Nathan's shoulders shook. He pressed his forehead to her hands. I'm so sorry. God, Naomi, I'm so sorry. Jamal watched them, his father, his mother, strangers, family. Everything was spinning. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I sold oranges in the sun, he said suddenly. I sold oranges so we could buy medicine. And you, he looked at Nathan. You have a house with a fountain. Nathan looked up, his face destroyed. I didn't know. If I had known. I don't have a bed. Jamal's voice rose. I sleep on the couch. Kids at school make fun of my shoes, and you. He gestured around the tiny apartment. You could have. I know. Nathan stood up, moving toward him. I know. And I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Both of you. I promise. Jamal looked at his mother. She was crying silently, her hand pressed to her chest. Then he looked at Nathan, at his father, and slowly he nodded. Nathan closed the distance between them. He knelt down, bringing himself to Jamal's eye level. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry you had to go through this alone. You shouldn't have had to sell oranges. You shouldn't have had to. I'm sorry. Jamal's lip trembled. His eyes burned. Why didn't you find us sooner? I tried. I swear I tried. Try harder. The words burst out of him. You should have tried harder. You're right. Nathan's voice cracked. You're absolutely right. Jamal's face crumpled, and then like a dam breaking, he lunged forward. Nathan caught him, wrapped his arms around him, held him tight. Jamal sobbed into his shoulder. 10 years of questions. 10 years of wondering why he wasn't enough, why his father didn't want him. And now he knew. His father didn't know he existed. Naomi sank to the floor beside them. Nathan reached out with one arm, pulling her in. The three of them held each other in the middle of that tiny apartment, surrounded by broken glass and broken years. A family, finally, but not yet whole. Nathan made the call from his car while Naomi packed a small bag. His voice was firm, efficient, the voice of someone used to getting things done. I need a private room at Emory. Tonight. Yes, tonight. It's for Naomi Carter. I'm covering all costs. Everything. Jamal sat on the couch listening. His mother moved slowly around the apartment, gathering closed toiletries. Her hands shook. She kept glancing at Nathan through the window, her expression unreadable. When Nathan came back inside, Naomi stopped. I can't pay you back. I'm not asking you to. Nathan, you're sick. Our son watched you cough up blood while he sold fruit on the street. We're not discussing this. You're going to the hospital tonight. The way he said our son made Jamal's chest tighten. It sounded foreign, strange. But also, right. I don't want charity, Naomi said quietly. It's not charity. It's me taking care of my family, the way I should have been doing all along. Nathan's voice was gentle but unyielding. Please, let me do this. Naomi looked at Jamal, then back at Nathan. Finally, she nodded. Emory University Hospital was nothing like the clinic Naomi usually went to. No peeling linoleum, no hard plastic chairs bolted to the floor. No 6-hour wait to see a doctor who barely looked at you. A nurse escorted them to a private room immediately. The bed had clean white sheets. There was a TV mounted on the wall, a window overlooking the parking lot. Naomi sat on the edge of the bed looking around like she'd walked into the wrong place. They're gonna run tests, Nathan said. Figure out exactly what's going on. Then we'll get you on the right medication. It's just pneumonia. You've had pneumonia for 6 months, Naomi. That's not normal. Nathan's voice was tight, controlled, but Jamal could hear the fear underneath. A doctor came in young, professional kind. She asked Naomi questions, lots of questions, about her symptoms, her medical history, when the coughing started, if she'd had fever, night sweats. Naomi answered quietly, her eyes on her hands. Jamal sat in the corner watching. He felt like an outsider, like he'd stumbled into someone else's life. We'll start with a chest x-ray and some blood work, the doctor said. Get a full picture. You're in good hands, Miss Carter. After she left, Nathan sat down in the chair beside Naomi's bed. For a long moment, nobody spoke. "I'm scared," Naomi whispered. Nathan reached out, covering her hand with his. "I know, but you're not alone anymore." She looked at him, really looked at him for the first time since they'd entered the apartment. "I thought about calling you so many times, especially when Jamal was born. I wanted," her voice broke, "I wanted you to meet him." "Why didn't you?" "Because I was terrified. Your mother, she made it very clear what would happen if I came back, and I couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk losing him." Nathan's jaw tightened. She had no right. She had all the right. Money, power, lawyers. I had nothing. Naomi pulled her hand away. "I still have nothing. You have me." Nathan's voice was fierce. "And I have resources she can't touch. If she tries anything, she will." Naomi's voice was flat. "The second she finds out you found me, she'll try everything to." "Let her try." Nathan stood. "I'm not a kid anymore, and I'm not letting her take my family again." The word family echoed in the room. Jamal realized he was holding his breath. The test took hours. X-rays, blood draws, a CT scan. Naomi disappeared behind curtains and into rooms while Nathan and Jamal waited. They sat in the cafeteria. Nathan bought Jamal a tray of food, real food. A burger, fries, chocolate milk, fruit. Jamal ate slowly, trying not to look too hungry, but his body betrayed him. He finished everything in minutes. Nathan didn't comment. He just bought him another tray. "Thank you," Jamal said quietly. "You don't have to thank me. Mama says I do. She says we always say thank you when someone does something nice." Nathan's face softened. "Your mother raised you well." They sat in silence for a while. Then Jamal asked, "What was she like when you knew her?" Nathan's expression shifted, something warm and sad at the same time. "She was the smartest person I'd ever met, and the kindest. She worked 2 jobs to put herself through nursing school. She never complained, never asked for anything. She had this way of making everything better, making me better." "Why'd you want to marry her?" Nathan smiled, the first real smile Jamal had seen. "Because I couldn't imagine my life without her. Every day I'd wake up and think, how did I get this lucky? Then why'd she leave?" The smile faded. "Because my mother is a cruel woman who couldn't stand the idea of her son being happy with someone she didn't approve of." "'Cause Mama's black?" Nathan met his eyes. "Yes." Jamal looked down at his hands. "Kids at school say stuff sometimes. About my mom, about me. I thought maybe my dad left 'cause of that too." "No." Nathan's voice was firm. "I didn't leave. I would never leave because of that. I loved your mother. I love her now. And he stopped, his throat working. "I love you too, even though I just met you. I know that sounds crazy, but—" "It doesn't," Jamal whispered. "It doesn't sound crazy." Nathan reached across the table. His hand was big warm. Jamal stared at it for a moment. Then he put his smaller hand in his father's palm. They sat like that, connected. Late that night, the doctor came back with results. "The pneumonia is severe but treatable," she said. "You also have anemia and signs of malnutrition. We're going to start IV antibiotics tonight. I want to keep you here for at least 3 days for observation." 3 days. Naomi's eyes widened. "I can't afford—" "It's covered," Nathan said. "Nathan, it's covered." His tone left no room for argument. Naomi sank back against the pillows, tears sliding down her cheeks. "I don't know how to—" "You don't have to do anything except rest." A nurse came in to start the IV. Jamal watched the needle slide into his mother's arm, the clear liquid dripping through the tube. "Will she be okay?" he asked quietly. "She will," the doctor said. "But she needs rest. And time. Her body's been fighting for a long time." After the doctor left, Nathan stood. "I'm going to make a quick call. Stay with your mom, okay?" Jamal nodded. When Nathan was gone, Naomi reached out her hand. Jamal took it, sitting on the edge of her bed. "You doing okay, baby?" she asked. "I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't tell you." "Why didn't you?" "Because I was scared. I thought if you knew, you might try to find him. And if you found him, Evelyn would." She closed her eyes. "I couldn't risk losing you." "But he's nice. He's really nice." "I know." She stroked his hand with her thumb. "Your daddy's a good man. He always was. Do you still love him?" Naomi's breath hitched. "Yes." "Does he still love you?" "I don't know. A lot of time has passed. He called you my family. That's got to mean something." Naomi smiled through her tears. "When did you get so smart?" "I learned from the best." She pulled him close, pressing a kiss to his forehead. I love you so much, baby. I love you too, Mama. Nathan came back an hour later. His face was tight, angry. I need to talk to your mother alone, he said to Jamal. Just for a few minutes. Is that okay? Jamal looked at his mom. She nodded. He stepped into the hallway, letting the door close behind him. But he didn't go far. He stood by the door, close enough to hear. I called a lawyer, Nathan said, and I want to do a DNA test, officially. Why? Naomi sounded worried. Because I want legal proof that Jamal is my son. So if my mother tries anything, and she will, we have documentation, protection. Nathan, I don't know if... I need this, Naomi. I need to know that no one can take him away. Not her, not anyone. Silence. Then quietly, okay. I also want to set up a trust fund for Jamal and for you, so you're never in this position again. I can't take your money. It's not about taking. It's about security for our son. Please. Another long silence. Okay, Naomi whispered. Okay. Jamal leaned against the wall, his heart pounding. Our son. He liked the sound of that. The DNA test took 2 days. They swabbed Jamal's cheek, swabbed Nathan's, sent the samples to a lab that promised expedited results. In the meantime, Naomi stayed in the hospital. Nathan stayed too, sleeping in the reclining chair beside her bed, leaving only to buy food or take phone calls outside. Jamal spent his days between his mother's room and the hospital cafeteria. Nathan bought him books from the gift shop, comics, puzzle books, anything to keep him occupied. But Jamal couldn't focus. His mind was spinning too fast. What if the test was negative? What if Nathan wasn't his father after all? What if this was all some bizarre coincidence? What if it was positive? What did that mean? Would they live together? Would Nathan want him? On the 3rd day, Nathan's phone rang. Cole. He listened. His face didn't change, but his hand tightened on the phone. Send it to my email. Now. He hung up, looked at Naomi, then at Jamal. It's done, he said quietly. Naomi sat up straighter in bed. Jamal's stomach twisted. Nathan pulled out his laptop, opening his email. The message loaded. He clicked on the attachment. The 3 of them stared at the screen. The alleged father, Nathan Cole, cannot be excluded as the biological father of the child Jamal Carter. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. The room went silent. Then Nathan made a sound, half laugh, half sob. He set the laptop aside and put his head in his hands. I have a son, he whispered. I have a son. Naomi was crying. Jamal didn't know what to do, didn't know what to feel. Nathan stood up suddenly, crossing the room. He dropped to his knees in front of Jamal, looking up at him with wet eyes. You're my son, he said. You're really my son. Yeah, Jamal's voice cracked. I guess so. Nathan reached for him, pulling him into a hug, tight, desperate. I'm sorry, he said into Jamal's hair. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry you grew up without me. I'm sorry for every birthday I missed, every night. You were scared every time you needed a dad and I wasn't there. I'm sorry. Jamal's arms slowly came up, wrapping around Nathan's shoulders. It's okay. It's not. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life making it right. I promise. Naomi was sobbing openly now. Nathan reached out with one arm, pulling her in too. The 3 of them held each other in that hospital room, surrounded by beeping machines, an antiseptic smell, and the weight of 10 lost years. But also, for the first time, something else. Hope. The next morning, Nathan brought paperwork. I had my lawyer draw this up, he said, handing Naomi a folder. It's a custody agreement, legal recognition of my parental rights, and a trust fund for Jamal. $5 million accessible when he turns 18. With allowances for education, medical expenses, and living costs in the meantime. Naomi stared at the papers. $5 million. It's a start. Nathan, I can't. You can. And you will, because I won't have my son wondering if he can afford college, or a doctor, or a place to live. His voice was firm. This isn't charity, Naomi. This is me being a father. She looked up at him, tears in her eyes. You don't have to do all this. Yes, I do. Why? Because I love him. Nathan's voice broke. And I love you. And I will not lose you again. The words hung in the air. Naomi's breath caught. Nathan, I know it's been 10 years. I know everything's different now. But I need you to know that I never stopped loving you. Not for one day. I never stopped either, she whispered. They stared at each other. Then slowly Nathan leaned down. Naomi lifted her face. Their lips met. Soft, tentative, like teenagers afraid of messing up. Jamal looked away, his face burning. but he was smiling. When they broke apart, Nathan was smiling too. The first real full smile Jamal had seen. "We're going to do this right this time," Nathan said. "All of us. Together." "Together," Naomi echoed. Jamal looked at his parents, his family. "Together," he said quietly. Naomi was discharged 5 days later, weak but improving. The antibiotics had worked. The fever had broken. Color was slowly returning to her face. Nathan insisted they come home with him. "Just until you're stronger," he said, though they all knew it was more than temporary. "The house has plenty of room." Jamal had never been in a car that quiet. The leather didn't squeak. The engine barely hummed. Outside the window, his old neighborhood disappeared behind them. The cracked sidewalks, the boarded-up storefronts, the men sitting on stoops with nowhere to go. He pressed his forehead against the cool glass, watching it all fade. When they pulled through the iron gates, Jamal felt his stomach flip. This was real. This was actually happening. Nathan showed Naomi to the guest room on the first floor. Large windows, attached bathroom, a bed so big it could fit 3 people. "I can't take this," she said, her hand on the doorframe. "It's yours, for as long as you need it." Nathan's voice was gentle but firm. "Please, Naomi, let me take care of you." She nodded slowly, tears pooling in her eyes. Then Nathan took Jamal upstairs. Second floor, end of the hall. He opened a door. Jamal stepped inside and froze. The room was huge. A queen bed with a thick comforter, a desk by the window, empty bookshelves waiting to be filled, walls painted a soft blue. "This is mine," Jamal whispered. "All yours." Nathan leaned against the doorframe watching him. "You can change anything you want. Paint it, decorate it, make it yours." Jamal walked to the window. He could see the backyard, a huge lawn trees, a stone patio with furniture. In the distance, the city skyline. "I've never had my own room," he said quietly. Nathan's expression tightened. "Well, you do now. And you always will." Jamal turned around. "Thank you. You don't have to thank me for what should have always been yours." The peace lasted exactly 3 days. On the morning of the 4th day, Nathan's phone rang during breakfast. Jamal watched his father's face change as he listened, his jaw tightening, his eyes going hard. "When did this happen?" Nathan's voice was clipped. "I see. No, don't engage. I'll handle it." He hung up and stared at the phone for a long moment. "Nathan," Naomi set down her coffee cup. "What's wrong?" "My mother knows." He looked up at her. "She called my lawyer this morning, threatened to contest the custody agreement, said she has concerns about Jamal's welfare." "What?" Naomi's hand flew to her chest. "She can't. She can try." Nathan's voice was ice. "But she won't win." "How did she find out?" Jamal asked. Nathan sighed. "She has people everywhere. Friends in hospitals, connections in law firms. I should have known she'd hear about it eventually." "What are you going to do?" Naomi's voice trembled. Nathan stood up his chair, scraping against the floor. "I'm going to end this, once and for all." "Nathan, please." "She threatened my son Naomi. Our son. I'm not letting her get away with that." He grabbed his keys from the counter, started toward the door. "Wait." Jamal stood up. "I want to come." "No. She's my grandmother. I should be there." "Absolutely not." Nathan's voice was final. "I don't want you anywhere near her." "Why? Because you think I can't handle it." Jamal's voice rose. "I sold oranges on the street to buy medicine. I think I can handle meeting some rich lady." Nathan opened his mouth to argue, then stopped. He looked at Naomi. She bit her lip thinking. Finally, she nodded. Maybe he should. Maybe she needs to see who she hurt. Nathan closed his eyes, took a deep breath. "Fine. But you stay close to me, and if I say we're leaving, we leave. Understood?" "Understood." The drive to Evelyn's estate took 20 minutes. They didn't talk. Nathan's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Jamal watched the houses get bigger and bigger as they drove until finally they turned onto a private road lined with ancient oaks. At the end sat a mansion that made Nathan's house look small. "Jesus," Jamal breathed. "My mother has always believed more is better," Nathan said dryly. They parked in the circular driveway. A butler answered the door before Nathan could knock. "Mr. Cole, she's expecting you in the study." "I'm sure she is." They followed the butler through halls filled with paintings and sculptures. Everything was white and gold, polished, perfect, cold. The study was at the back of the house, floor-to-ceiling windows, leather furniture, a desk that probably cost more than Jamal's old apartment. Evelyn Cole sat behind that desk, her hands folded on the polished surface. She wore a cream suit pearls at her throat. Her silver hair was pulled back severely. Her face was beautiful in a sharp, preserved way. Her eyes landed on Jamal. For a moment, no one spoke. "So," Evelyn said finally, "this is the boy. This is your grandson," Nathan said sharply. "His name is Jamal." "I know his name." Evelyn stood, walking around the desk. She moved slowly, studying Jamal like he was a painting she was considering buying. "He looks like her." "Don't," Nathan warned. "I'm simply stating a fact." Evelyn stopped a few feet away. "Hello, Jamal." "Ma'am." Jamal's voice came out smaller than he wanted. "How old are you?" 10. "And you've been living with your mother all this time?" "Yes, ma'am." "In that apartment near the textile district?" Jamal's hands clenched. "Yes, ma'am." "That must have been difficult." Her voice was neutral, clinical. "We managed." "I'm sure you did." She turned to Nathan. "May I speak with you privately?" "No. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of Jamal." Evelyn's lips thinned. "Very well." She moved back to her desk, sitting down like a queen on a throne. "I've spoken with my lawyers. They inform me that you've established paternity and filed for legal custody." "That's right." "Without consulting me." "I don't need to consult you about my son. He's also my grandson." "Biologically, yes, but you lost the right to claim him when you threatened his mother." Nathan's voice was hard. "When you drove her away, when you kept me from knowing he existed." Evelyn's expression didn't change. "I did what I thought was best for you." "No, you did what was best for your image, your reputation." Nathan took a step forward. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Naomi was terrified. "She ran. She lived in poverty for 10 years because she was afraid you'd take her child away. Jamal grew up without a father, without security, without the embarrassment of being associated with a waitress." Evelyn cut in. The room went silent. Nathan's face went white, then red. "Get out." "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Get out of my life. Permanently." Evelyn stood slowly. "You don't mean that." "I've never meant anything more." Nathan's voice shook with fury. "You destroyed the woman I loved. You kept me from my son. You threatened, manipulated, and lied. And for what? So your friends wouldn't gossip. So you could maintain your perfect image. I was protecting you. From happiness." Nathan's voice rose. "From love. From a family. That's what you were protecting me from." Evelyn's composure cracked slightly. "She wasn't suitable. She was perfect. She is perfect. And you drove her away because you're a bigot and a snob who can't stand the idea of anyone in this family being with someone who doesn't fit your narrow definition of acceptable. How dare you? How dare you?" Nathan slammed his hand on the desk. "You want to know what Jamal's life has been like? He sold fruit on the street in 90-degree heat to buy medicine for his mother. He wore shoes with holes in them. He went to bed hungry. He was teased and bullied and told his father didn't want him. All because of you." Evelyn looked at Jamal. For the first time, her expression wavered. "I didn't know it would." "You didn't care." Nathan's voice dropped, becoming deadly quiet. "You didn't care what happened to them as long as they were gone." "That's not true." "Isn't it?" Nathan straightened. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay away from Naomi. You're going to stay away from Jamal. You will not call, visit, or contact us in any way. You will not threaten legal action. You will not use your connections to cause problems. If you do any of these things, if you so much as breathe in their direction, you will never see me again. Ever. Do you understand?" Evelyn's hands trembled on the desk. "Nathan, please. Do you understand?" She looked at him, then at Jamal. The boy stood silent, his chin raised, his eyes steady. Something in her face changed. Not quite regret, but recognition maybe, of what she'd done, of what she'd lost. "I understand," she whispered. Nathan turned to leave. Jamal followed. They were almost to the door when Evelyn spoke again. "Wait." Nathan stopped but didn't turn around. Evelyn's voice was quieter now, older. "I made a mistake. I see that now." "Yes, you did. Is there any way to fix it?" Nathan turned slowly. His expression was hard. "I don't know. That's not up to me." He looked at Jamal. "It's up to them." Jamal met Evelyn's eyes. She looked smaller now, less intimidating. "You scared my mama," he said quietly. "You made her run away. You made her sick with worry. And you kept me from my dad for 10 years. "I know." Evelyn's voice cracked. "I know I did." "Why?" "Because I was afraid." "Of what?" Evelyn was silent for a long moment. "Of losing my son to someone I thought wasn't good enough. Of what people would say." Of change. She looked down at her hands. I was wrong. About all of it. Jamal studied her. You really mean that? Yes. Then prove it. Evelyn looked up. How? Leave us alone. Let us be a family. And if you really want to be part of that someday, you ask. Nicely. And you respect it if we say no. Nathan's eyebrows rose. Evelyn stared at the boy, this 10-year-old, who spoke with more wisdom than she'd shown in years. I can do that, she said softly. Jamal nodded. Then he turned and walked out. Nathan followed, but not before giving his mother one last look. He's a better person than either of us, he said. Don't make me regret giving you this chance. Then he was gone. Evelyn stood alone in her study, surrounded by expensive things and crushing silence. The weeks that followed were an adjustment. Jamal woke up every morning in a bed that was too soft, too big, too clean. For the first few days, he slept on top of the covers, afraid to mess them up. Nathan noticed and bought him a sleeping bag. If the bed's too much, use this until you're comfortable, he said. But after a week, Jamal started using the bed, started letting himself believe this was real. School was different too. Nathan enrolled him in a private academy, Northbridge Prep. The building looked like a college campus. Every classroom had computers. The library had 3 floors. The cafeteria served actual food, not just pizza and frozen vegetables. The other kids were different. They talked about vacations in Europe and summer homes and ski trips. Their backpacks cost more than Jamal's entire wardrobe used to, but they weren't mean. Most of them didn't care that he was new. They were too focused on their own lives. Except Marcus. Marcus Washington sat next to Jamal in math class on the first day. He was black tall with glasses and an easy smile. You're the new kid, right? Marcus asked. Yeah. Where'd you transfer from? Public school. West Side. Marcus's eyebrows rose. No kidding. That's a big change. You could say that. Well, if you need help navigating this place, let me know. I've been here since kindergarten. I know where all the good hiding spots are. Jamal smiled. Hiding spots? For when you need a break from all the… Marcus gestured vaguely at the classroom. You know, the richness. Marcus laughed. Exactly. They became friends quickly. Marcus didn't ask about Jamal's past, didn't push for information. He just accepted Jamal as he was. It felt good, normal. At home, Naomi was getting stronger. Nathan hired a nutritionist, a physical therapist. He made sure she had everything she needed to recover fully. But more than that, he made sure she felt safe. He installed a security system, not just for protection, but so Naomi could see who was at the gate before letting them in. He gave her space when she needed it. He asked permission before making decisions about Jamal. Slowly, Naomi began to relax. One evening, Jamal came downstairs to find them in the kitchen together. Nathan was teaching Naomi how to use the espresso machine. She was laughing, actually laughing, as foam shot everywhere. I told you less pressure. Nathan was laughing too. You didn't say how much less. They looked so normal, like a couple, like parents. Jamal cleared his throat. They turned, both of them smiling. Hey, baby, Naomi said. We're making a mess. I can see that. Your mom's trying to become a barista, Nathan said. I am not. I'm just trying to figure out this ridiculously complicated machine. It's not complicated. You just have to… If you say, be gentle one more time, I'm throwing this at you. Nathan held up his hands in surrender, grinning. Jamal felt something warm bloom in his chest. This was what it was supposed to be like. This was what he'd missed. Can I help? He asked. Please, Naomi said, before your father drives me crazy. They spent the next hour making coffee drinks, most of them terrible, some drinkable. They laughed, they teased each other, they felt like a family. But not everything was easy. Jamal had nightmares sometimes, dreams where he woke up back in the old apartment and Nathan was gone, and everything had been a dream. He'd wake up sweating, his heart racing. The first time it happened, he crept downstairs at 2 a.m. just to make sure the house was real. Nathan was in the kitchen making tea. Can't sleep? He asked. Jamal shook his head. Me neither. Nathan poured a second cup. Hot chocolate. Okay. They sat at the kitchen island in silence for a while. Then Jamal said, What if this doesn't last? Nathan looked at him. What do you mean? What if you change your mind about us? Nathan set down his mug. Jamal, look at me. Jamal did. I'm not going anywhere, Nathan said firmly. I know you've had a lot of people let you down. I know trust doesn't come easy. But I'm your father, legally, biologically, and in every way that matters. You're stuck with me. Promise. I promise. Jamal nodded slowly. Okay? And if you ever feel scared or worried, you tell me. Anytime, day or night. Deal. Deal. They finished their drinks in comfortable silence. Then Nathan walked Jamal back to his room, something he'd started doing every night. Good night, son, he said at the door. Son. Jamal never got tired of hearing it. Good night, Dad. 2 months after they moved in, Nathan sat them both down in the living room. I want to talk to you about something, he said. Naomi and Jamal exchanged glances. I've been thinking, Nathan continued, and I want to make this official. Permanent. What do you mean? Naomi asked. Nathan looked at Jamal. I want to legally adopt you. Change your last name to Cole if you want. Make sure that on paper in every way possible, you're my son. Jamal's throat tightened. Really? Really? But only if you want to. No pressure. What about Mama? Your mom and I talked. This doesn't change anything between you and her. You're still her son. Always will be. But legally you'd have 2 parents. Protection. Security. Jamal looked at his mother. She was crying, but she was smiling too. It's your choice, baby, she said. Whatever you want. Jamal thought about it. About being Jamal Cole. About having a father's name. About belonging. I want that, he said quietly. I want to be a Cole. Nathan's face broke into the biggest smile Jamal had ever seen. He pulled Jamal into a hug, holding him tight. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for giving me this. Thank you for finding us, Jamal whispered back. The adoption process took 6 weeks. Paperwork, court appearances, a home study. But Nathan's lawyers made sure it went smoothly. On the day the judge signed the final papers, they celebrated with ice cream. To Jamal Cole, Nathan said, raising his cone. To Jamal Cole, Naomi echoed. Jamal grinned, feeling lighter than he had in his entire life. He was Jamal Carter Cole, son of Naomi and Nathan, part of a family. Finally, 3 months passed. Spring arrived, bringing warm weather and new routines. Jamal thrived at Northbridge Prep. His grades were good. He joined the chess club. Marcus became his best friend. Naomi got a job part-time at first, working as a nurse at a community clinic. Nathan offered to support her financially, but she wanted to work. I need to feel useful, she said. I need to be me again. Nathan understood. They were building something. Not perfect, but real. A life together. Then one Saturday morning, the gate buzzer rang. Nathan was making pancakes. Jamal was setting the table. Naomi was reading the newspaper. Nathan checked the security camera. His face went still. It's my mother, he said quietly. Naomi looked up sharply. What? She's at the gate, alone. What does she want? I don't know. Nathan looked at them both. I can send her away. Jamal walked over to the screen. Evelyn stood by her car holding something, a box. She looked nervous. Let's hear what she has to say, Jamal said. Are you sure? Nathan asked. Yeah, you said she gets 1 chance. Let's see if she means it. Naomi stood up. I'm staying in the room, but Jamal's right. Let's hear her out. Nathan pressed the button. Come to the front door. Evelyn looked different, smaller somehow. She wore slacks and a simple blouse. No pearls, no designer suit. Her hair was softer, less severe. She held a box wrapped in brown paper. Thank you for seeing me, she said when Nathan opened the door. You have 10 minutes. That's fair. She looked past him at Naomi and Jamal. Hello, Naomi, Jamal. Mrs. Cole, Naomi said stiffly. Please call me Evelyn. She held out the box. I brought something. For Jamal. Jamal took it carefully. What is it? Open it and see. He unwrapped the paper. Inside was a wooden box, beautifully carved. He opened the lid. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Nathan as a baby, as a child, as a teenager, playing baseball, graduating high school, laughing with friends. I thought you might want to know what your father was like growing up, Evelyn said softly. I thought you might want to see where you came from. Jamal looked through the photos. Nathan peered over his shoulder, his expression complicated. Why are you really here? Naomi asked. Evelyn turned to her. To apologize. Properly. Not because I have to, but because I want to. You apologized before. I said words, but I didn't understand what I'd done. Not really. Evelyn's voice shook slightly. I've spent the last 3 months thinking, talking to my therapist, trying to understand why I did what I did. And Nathan's voice was hard. And I realized I was terrified of losing control, of my son choosing someone I didn't pick, of what people would think. She looked at Naomi. But mostly, I was terrified of being wrong, of admitting that my values were rooted in prejudice and fear rather than love. Naomi's expression didn't soften. That's a nice speech. It's the truth. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. I looked at you 10 years ago and saw everything I thought wasn't good enough. But I was the one who wasn't good enough. You loved my son. You made him happy. You gave him a child. And I destroyed that because I'm a coward. The room was silent. I don't expect forgiveness, Evelyn continued. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking for a chance to be in Jamal's life, to be a grandmother, not to replace anyone or overstep, just to be present. Nathan looked at Naomi. She looked at Jamal. What do you think? Naomi asked him quietly. Jamal studied Evelyn. She looked sincere, scared, human. I think people can change, he said slowly, if they really want to. I do, Evelyn said quickly. I want to change. I want to be better. Then prove it, Jamal said. Come to my chess tournament next week. Just watch. Don't try to take over or tell me what to do. Just be there. Evelyn's face crumpled with relief. I can do that. Thank you. And if you say anything mean to my mama, you're done. Forever. I understand. Naomi stepped forward. I mean it, Evelyn. One wrong move and you're out. I won't let you hurt my son. I won't. I swear I won't. Evelyn looked at Nathan. Thank you for this chance. Nathan didn't smile. Don't waste it. I won't. Evelyn came to the chess tournament. She sat in the back quiet. When Jamal won his match, she clapped politely. When he lost one, she didn't criticize. Afterwards, she approached carefully. You played well, she said. Thanks. That move in the third game, the knight sacrifice, that was clever. Jamal blinked. You know chess. I used to play with your grandfather before he passed. Oh. They stood there awkwardly for a moment. Then Evelyn said, Would you like to play sometime? I could teach you some strategies. Jamal looked at Nathan, who nodded slightly. Okay, Jamal said. Maybe. That's all I ask. Over the next few months, Evelyn became a careful presence in their lives. She came for Sunday dinners, bringing food, helping clean up, staying out of the way. She asked about Jamal's school, his friends, his interests. She listened more than she talked. She was respectful to Naomi, deferential even. And slowly, very slowly, the ice began to thaw. One evening, Naomi and Evelyn ended up alone in the kitchen while Nathan helped Jamal with homework. They washed dishes in silence for a while. Then Evelyn said, He's a remarkable boy. Yes, he is. You raised him well, despite everything I put you through. Naomi's hands stilled in the soapy water. It wasn't easy. I know. Evelyn set down the dish she was drying. Naomi, I need you to know. What I did to you was inexcusable. I threatened you when you were vulnerable. I tried to take away your child. I caused you years of pain and fear. And I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Naomi turned to look at her. Evelyn's eyes were wet. I can't change the past, Evelyn continued, but I promise I will spend the rest of my life making sure I never cause harm like that again. Naomi studied her for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. I don't forgive you yet, she said quietly, but I believe you're trying. That's a start. That's more than I deserve. Yes, Naomi said. It is. They went back to washing dishes, but something had shifted. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe someday something close to it. 6 months later, on a warm evening in October, Nathan proposed. He did it at dinner, just the three of them at the table. He'd made Naomi's favorite meal, lit candles, put on soft music. Jamal knew it was coming. Nathan had asked his permission the week before. I want to marry your mother, he'd said, but only if you're okay with it. Are you kidding? Yes, do it. So when Nathan got down on one knee, Jamal was ready with his phone to record it. Naomi, Nathan said, his voice shaking slightly. 10 years ago, I was going to ask you this. And then I lost you. I spent a decade thinking I'd never get this chance again. Naomi's hand was over her mouth, tears already streaming. But fate brought you back to me. Through our son. Through a hot day and a bag of oranges and a gate that opened when it should have stayed closed. He pulled out a ring, the same ring from 10 years ago. I've been carrying this with me ever since, waiting, hoping. And now I'm asking, will you marry me? Naomi couldn't speak. She just nodded, sobbing. Nathan slipped the ring on her finger. It still fit perfectly. Jamal cheered. Nathan laughed. Naomi cried harder. And when Nathan kissed her, Jamal turned off the camera and looked away, grinning. His parents, getting married. Finally, they planned a small wedding. Nothing extravagant, just family and close friends. The ceremony was in the backyard under the big oak tree. White chairs set up on the lawn, string lights hanging from the branches, flowers everywhere. Naomi wore a simple white dress. Nathan wore a dark suit. Jamal stood beside them in a smaller version of Nathan's suit, holding the rings. Marcus was there, grinning from the front row. A few of Nathan's colleagues. Some of Naomi's co-workers from the clinic. And Evelyn. She sat in the third row, dressed elegantly, but not ostentatiously. She cried through the entire ceremony, quiet tears that she didn't bother hiding. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," and Nathan dipped Naomi dramatically, everyone laughed and clapped. Jamal felt something warm and complete settle in his chest. This was his family. Really, truly his family. At the reception there was dancing, food, laughter. Evelyn approached Jamal while he was getting cake. "May I sit?" she asked. "Sure." They sat together on a bench near the garden. "Thank you," Evelyn said quietly. "For what?" "For giving me a chance. For letting me be here. For," she gestured at the celebration, "for this. I know I don't deserve it." Jamal looked at her. "You're trying. That's what matters." "Am I doing okay as a grandmother?" "Yeah." Jamal smiled slightly. "You're doing okay." Evelyn wiped her eyes. "Your grandfather would have loved you. He would have been so proud." "Tell me about him." "He was stubborn, smart, kind, a lot like Nathan, actually." She smiled. "He would have stood up to me. About your mother. He would have told me I was being a fool." "Would you have listened?" "Probably not. I was very good at not listening." She looked at Jamal. "But I'm learning." "You're teaching me." "Me?" "Yes. You and your mother. You're teaching me that family isn't about bloodlines or social status. It's about love and choice and showing up." Jamal nodded. "Yeah, I guess it is." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching Nathan and Naomi dance. "Do you think," Evelyn said carefully, "that someday your mother might forgive me?" "I don't know," Jamal said honestly. "But she's here. She let you come. That's something." "It is." Evelyn smiled sadly. "It's more than I deserve." Later, Nathan called Jamal over for a dance. "Come on, son. Let's show them how it's done." Jamal laughed. "I don't know how to dance." "Neither do I. We'll figure it out together." They spun around the dance floor, completely off-beat, laughing the whole time. Naomi joined them, and then Marcus, and soon half the guests were dancing badly and having the time of their lives. Jamal looked around at the lights, the laughter, the people he loved. A year ago, he'd been selling oranges in the summer heat, alone, scared, trying to survive. Now he was here, surrounded by family, safe, loved. It felt like a dream, but it was real. Years later, Jamal would tell the story to his own children. He'd be in his 30s by then, successful, married with kids who never had to wonder if they were wanted. "Tell us the orange story, Daddy," his daughter would beg. And he would. He'd tell them about the summer he was 10, about the bag of oranges, about the mansion at the end of the street, about the gate that opened and changed everything. "Did you know right away he was your dad?" his son would ask. "No, but I felt something. Like I was supposed to be there." "And great-grandma Evelyn, did she ever become nice?" Jamal would smile. "She tried. She came to all my birthdays, all my graduations. She learned to listen more than she talked. And when you guys were born, she cried harder than anyone." "Was she a good great-grandma?" "She was. Not perfect, but good. People can change if they really want to." "And Grandma Naomi and Grandpa Nathan, are they still happy?" Jamal would think about his parents, still together, still laughing, still holding hands after all these years. "Yeah," he'd say, "they're still happy." "And you, Daddy?" He'd look at his kids, his wife, the life he'd built, the life he almost didn't have. "I'm happy too," he'd say, "because of a bag of oranges and a hot summer day and a man who opened his gate when he could have kept it closed." "That's a good story," his daughter would say. The best story, Jamal would agree, because it was his story. The story of how a boy selling oranges found his father, and how a father found his son, and how a family broken for 10 years finally came home. In a house in Buckhead, on a mantel above the fireplace, 2 photographs sit side by side. One shows a young woman in a yellow sundress laughing. The other shows a family of 3, Naomi, Nathan, and Jamal, at a wedding. Different times, different moments, but the same love. The love that waited, the love that endured, the love that despite everything found its way home.
Join us to share meaningful stories by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to start your day with profound lessons and heartfelt empathy.